This conference will now be recorded.
Hi, thanks for joining. We will start the session in next 2 minutes. We'll wait for others to join. Hi, Srinivas. Good evening.
Yeah, yeah. Hi, good evening.
We'll give a few more minutes for others to join. Otherwise, we will start the session. And the recording is on, and they can watch it later also.
Yuvi, this is the first batch you are conducting the class, or have you conducted any earlier classes before?
I'm in this field for so many years. Okay, I didn't
Okay.
remember which number it is now.
No, no. I mean at Isha trainings. Yeah, not. Yeah. I think there are very few students, so you are planning to continue the class, right?
Yes, I'm starting the session now.
Okay. No. And one more general question, Yuvi. So you were mentioning that Java is used mainly, mostly in Android and all, right? Hello?
Not mostly. In
Yeah.
Android also you can use it.
Yeah. No, like recently I heard people there is something called React Native something which you can make an app for both Android and iOS. Is that true?
That I will check and get back because I
Oh,
have developed
yeah.
using Java. Okay,
Okay,
so
okay.
this I'll check and get back to you on that.
Okay. So so it's only mainly used on Android. So iOS we cannot use Java to make an app on iOS.
They are not using. I think I
Okay.
pasted that also there, right? Which app they are using for iOS.
Okay. Okay. No
It
problem.
depends
Thank you.
upon the platform where you are planning to execute it. Okay, so mainly in Google based phones, they are using this Android, and there they are
Okay.
using Java.
Okay. Yeah. Because nowadays, customers they need to have their apps on Android and iOS, right? So like if they are using like different technologies for different things, it would be very difficult for them to
No,
maintain.
no, that I got your point. I think for compatibility wise, you can do, but some small modification needs to be done.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Is my screen visible? I'm sharing my browser. Is it visible?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So yesterday I told two things, that is first I will show the download, like if somebody wants to use IDE, how can I use it? So that thing also I'm going to show today. And next thing is you have asked about the comments, right? So how you can do any of the main you need of this IDE is like forget about all these comments. I don't want to put everything on my head, like everything I want the IDE to done. So that's why yeah, we are going for this either the online compiler or the IDE. But still, I'll tell if you are interested, there are some ways you can compile your code using the command prompt also. So in IDE itself, there are some options available. So that also we are going to try it out. Okay. So quickly, I'm sharing. So if you are planning to use a IDE called IntelliJ, then what you have to do if you are planning to use some other id like eclipse sts and visual studio code, like different ids are available. But I would suggest that if you are planning for a spring boot based application or any other spring specific applications, you can go for sts. Otherwise eclipse and id is more than sufficient. And again I told, right, some of my old students has told that they are facing some configuration and performance problem when they are using this eclipse. So in that cases I would prefer that they can go with the IntelliJ. Whatever may be, whether it is IntelliJ or Eclipse, the main thing is you need a JDK in your machine, laptop or desktop. So to download the JDK, you have to open your browser and type JDK download. You'll have options. So Oracle is the official provider of this, so you can go to that site. You can see the options here. There will be so many options of jdk available. So jdk 2117, so there are some options available. So whichever jdk you want to be in your machine, you can pick that particular option. And when you select your jdk, there are three options will be prompted for you based upon the operating system which you are using. One is Linux, another is Mac OS, another was Windows. So these three options you can pick and you can select it. So I'm going with Windows. Again, in Windows, Windows, you have options like you want it in the zip format or the executable format. So you can click on the options. So I'm clicking on this. So it is going to download. Once it is download, it's regular, like you will have a exe in your downloads folder. You have to double click it. You will ask like you will be prompted with a screen call, are you agreeing, like you have to click on the I agree, read the content, and if you're okay with that, click on the I agree and complete the installation. This is for the JDK installation. And next step is IntelliJ. Again, open your browser and type IntelliJ download and click on search. It will prompt you with a JetBrains site. So when you click on it,
Is this also open source, UV, IntelliJ?
once it is downloaded and you complete the installation, and again it will ask you some agreement. So read the content. If you are okay with that, click on the I agree. So these two softwares you need to install. One is IDE, another is JDK. You need these two things in your machine to run the IntelliJ. And previously, okay, before this and all, what we will do is we will install the JDK. I hope if you are in this usage of laptop or desktop for so many years would have observed it. There is something called class path in your machine. You will manually go and you will set your class path. You will configure the path of the JDK in your class path. There will be something called local variable, environment variable. So many things we do manually, but nowadays it's all easy. When you do the installation of IntelliJ itself, when you do an installation of JDK itself, it will ask you that, do you want to set the class path? There will be one question will be prompt as part of this installation. When you click on the checkbox, it will automatically set the class path. After setting the class path, you just need to restart your machine. That is either your desktop or your laptop, you have to restart. Once it is restarted, all set. So this is very simple installation. You can try by yourself. If you face any issue or any error, you can let me know. Okay, next is I'm going to open my IntelliJ, my editor, and I'm going to use it for my day-to-day practice or a small project development or the actual development. So I'm going to show you. I'll unshare my browser and I will start sharing my screen. I hope my IntelliJ screen is visible. Okay, so once you create it, usually you won't see all these options. You will have fresh screen, nothing would be there. So you will have something called file new. You can create a project here. So here I want to take some time because using IDE will reduce your work as much as possible. It is not needed that you should be expert in everything, all the syntax, all the coding functionality and all, because to an extent your IDE will help you. If there are any issue with your syntax or any error, it will tell upfront. So if you are comfortable with your IDE, you can use it for your development as it is. So first thing what we are going to do here is I'm going to tell you how you can create a project. There are different ways you can create a project. Say for example, for a training purpose, you are going to write the code from the scratch. You are not depending on anyone. You are going to write your own code in the workspace. Means you can go for the option new project. Okay, anyhow I'll show you later, but now what I'm going to concentrate is these two things. Okay, what is this project from existing source, project from version control? The first option, project from existing source. This will be useful when you are in a project, actual project, a development. You are recruited for a development there. You are entering into a new team. Say, for example, you attended an interview, you cleared it, and you are into a project, a Java project, which is already developed, but you are the one new to that particular team. In that cases, what will happen is they will share the existing code to you. There are two ways they can share the code to you. The very correct way is they will share you the version control detail, that is Git, or whichever version control they are using. They might be using Tortoise or whatever version control they are using. They will share the version control details to you, the username and password. So they will share you the login credential to the version control. They will create something new for you because you are a new team member, right? So they will create something new and they will share the credentials to you, and that you will configure in this particular tab. In this, you will specify the URL and whatever information it is needed, you can enter and you can continue. So this for the GitHub, it is configured. So I have to give the repository URL. So for a GitHub, there will be some URL. That URL you will enter here and you will clone it. Clone it is nothing but you will take a copy of that particular workspace into your local workspace and you will work it. So this is the process you are going to do. This is option number one, the correct way of doing. But for example, you are new to the team and it is not like that. Just like that, they will create a account for you and they will give the credentials to you on the day first itself. On the day one, what they will do is they will create, say already a team member is there, they like employee one and your employee two. So what you will do, you will go and ask your employee one, hey, I am your new team member, can you please share me the code base so that I will go through the code. So what he will do from his local disk, okay, from his C colon or D colon, he will take the zip file and you will share it across, and that zip file you will extract in your local machine and that you can add it to your project like this. So that option, when you're planning to add a file from your local drive, you can use this option. That is something like importing a project from your local machine to this particular workspace. It's like referring that project. So option number one is using the version control, the Git URL. Option number two is like getting the copy of the code from your colleague and you are using it. And the option number three is the one which we are going to use, that is we are going to create a local repository, that is something local you are going to create for your training purpose. So for that you have to click on file, new and project. Okay, so I'm clicking on this. When I am creating a project, this is how exactly my screen looks like. For now, I'm keeping all those things aside. The left hand side, you can see, right? This IntelliJ is capable of doing a development for all other things. It's not only intended for basic Java, even if you are planning for a Spring Boot development, Maven based one Cradle. So all those things you can do using the same IDE. But in this training, we are going to concentrate on the core Java. So I'm skipping all these left hand side things and only the right hand things I'm going to concentrate. So here I'm going to mention the project. Some project name I'm going to do like this is October batch, right? Something I'm giving, some name of the project. Say you're working for any organization like a online shopping app, you can give the name of the project as online shopping app. So something like that, you can give the relevant name to the project. So it's a training, right? So you can give your own name there. Location, where do you want to place this project, you can click. Then again, I told you, right, it will support so many things, but currently in this training course we are going to use Java. So I'm going to click on Java only. So IntelliJ, it's a core Java. I'm not going to do anything on the Spring Boot. If I'm planning to create a Spring Boot project, then I can go and select for the option of Maven or Cradle. So this I'm keeping aside. It's a core Java training we are doing. So IntelliJ I've selected. Again, the JDK version. So recently, if you downloaded whichever version, I showed you the way also how to create, like how to download the JDK and how to install also I've told you. So that thing you can pick and choose. If there are more than one version available, it will tell you the version. If only one version is available, it will tell you that particular version. Once that selection is over, this is optional only. add sample code, generate code with onboarding tips. Okay, I will tell you what is this onboarding tips and all. Later I will remove it for your understanding. I'm keeping both the checkboxes. Once these are all done, I'm going to click on the create button. Okay, so once I create it, I'll be so open project. Where would you like to open the project? Because already I have a project called new batch. I'm creating one more project. It is asking me where do you want to create? Is it the same window or a new window? I'm going for a new window option. So it is opening me a new window, a fresh window. When I create a project, I think you would have observed it. There is an option to create the Git repository also. I'm not doing it currently. I will tell you that later. So this is the project it has created. It has created one sample code also to me, and I told right, these are the tips. I've selected one checkbox in the previous screen. That is, I want to select with a checkbox like it says that you do you want a sample code. So this is my sample code. Do you want some tips? I said yes, right? So that's why it is giving me a tips here. If you press on some shortcut keys, what will happen? So all this tips are provided, but most of the time I feel it is like adding so many things in my code, so I won't check the checkbox. I will say add the sample code alone, but I don't need this tips and other things. Whenever there is a need, I have the help option, I can go and I see it. So I'm going to remove all those things. I'm going to show you one plain code here. So this is my plain code, and breakpoints I will cover later when I do the exceptions and error. That time I will explain you the breakpoints. So this is my code. It has one class, it has one method called main, and it has some print statement, and it is running one loop. This also I am removing now because I didn't cover the loop concept now. So I'm removing all those things, and I have one print statement alone here. Print statement is nothing but some text is printed. Even yesterday we have seen. The same thing we are going to cover. If needed, you can add the package details also here. That is hierarchy we have seen yesterday. Com dot Verizon, or which company we can select, Amazon or Flipkart. Some famous company we can. I will go with Isha itself otherwise.
Yeah. UV,
Com
we are
dot
not able to see your screen.
set. Just give me a minute. I will share it again. Okay. Is it visible now?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. Then I think I should do it again. This I was telling this comments in the and all right. When I created a project, it was presented like this. Okay, it has so many comments in that. It is saying that enter this alt and enter, then you will have something, and you have to press this F10 or F9. It will do something. So many tips it is giving. So what I feel is I don't want all these tips, so I'm removing all these tips because I want my code to be neat and clean. So I'm removing it, and next thing is I didn't cover the loop concept also so far, so I'm removing that code also. So I'm planning to keep my code as simple as possible because this is the very first code we are doing here, right? So I'm making one class is there that is called main class. Under that one main method is there. Under that one print statement is there. Print statement means whatever it is there in this double quote, it is going to print in the screen. So here, if needed, you can add your package also. That is the hierarchy we were discussing. Com dot Isha. So I want to create a package like this. So it is saying it is currently not in this path because I didn't create anything. If you look at this, this is the hierarchy it has created. There is a project. Under that, there is a folder called SRC. This is a source folder. Under this source folder, I have a class called main. Nothing else is there. These are the supporting libraries. You can see so many libraries. This is the beauty of this JDK. So what are all the libraries needed for the Java development? Everything is available upfront. If it is need, I will use it. I have import statement. I will be using it. If it is not needed, also no issue. It will be there in my folder. That's it. So when I create a project initially, I will see only these things. Nothing additionally. You can see it here. Only SRC folder you can see. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to run this project. Before that, I want to create the hierarchy properly. So it is saying that you are planning to create a package. So usually the package name will be your organization name. If you are working for Amazon, it will be com.amazon, or Flipkart means com.flipkart, or any other AT&T, whichever company you are working, so that company name you can give it here. So here I'm giving com.isha or training institute name. So I'm saying that move to package com.isha. So when I click on it, now you can observe something different. Under SRC, instead of the main class file, it is saying that com.isha. Then you can see the main file, that main class file here. So now it is clear. Next thing is, okay. Next thing is, we want to see one more thing. It has only the .java file. If you observe it, it is showing something called .java file. So now there are different options to run your code, to execute your code. So the easiest one is on top. You can see something called Shift F10, like a one button. You can say one play button is there, you can use it, or you can use the Shift F10 from your keyboard. That will help you to run this program. So now I'm going to use the easiest way, that is clicking on the top. On the bottom you can say it is saying that building, and it is taking some time also, because it's the very first time I created one project and I'm compiling a code, so it is taking some time. You can see parsing Java, so many activity it is doing, but next time when you do, it won't take much time. Now again, what has happened? Let's observe it. Anyhow, I see the output here. Hello and welcome. This is a message in this particular code, and I can see it here. But there are something else also happen. You can see it is doing something like Java exe. It is giving some path. You can observe some commands it has executed, the class path also it has referred, and then finally it was executing my code com.isha.main. And you can ask me why it is saying just main. Actually, my code is main.java. Why it is not doing main.java? So let me explain it again. Even yesterday I was telling it. Now I'll show it from the screen itself. In your thing, you will have like so many tabs would be there in your ID itself. Let's open this terminal. When I open the terminal, it is your Windows PowerShell screen, and it will show you the path. So bear with me, these are all some of the commands we use it in the shell screen. So I'm running, so ls is nothing but listing whatever it is there in the particular folder called October batch. So here there are some folders. Again, you can observe in the top also, previously I had only the src folder. Now you can see one more folder called out. Okay, so what is this how? Previously I didn't see, now all of the sudden from where I got it? It is because of the compilation activity I have done. If you open this out folder, you can see there is one new file got created which is called main. So I'm going to tell it how this new folder and new file got created. When you are creating your source file, it will be lit only your .java extension file, or some configuration files would be there. Nothing else would be there. So when you are compiling your code, the supporting things all will happen. The very first thing is I have to navigate my code to the actual part under src. This is the path, right? Com Isha. So CD is nothing but change directory. These are all the commands I'm using. So CD means change directory, ls means like listing. You can see the main.java is a file, something got created, and the current date and time also you can check, like 21:30 is the current time, and a new file called main.java was created 3 minutes back. So in this particular thing, it's over. You're clear about it. When you want to change this file, I've told two steps, right? Step number one is you have to change this code from .java to .class. So for that, what you will be doing is Java C. It's a compiler. So first thing is compilation. Second thing is executions. So when you do this Java C main.java, you can see there is only one file, right? Now when I run this again, I ran this command, and it's showing some error from me. Yeah, you can see one dot class file is created. When I execute the Java C space, the particular Java file, it has created me a class file. Later on, I have to execute the file. So I have to give the actual class path and other things. Once I execute, this particular thing will come. So I will show you a screen. What are the steps we will run to execute a file, to run a file, how you can do. So whether you are using IDE or the normal one, this is a simple thing. Previously we were using in the beginning when we tried, right, like without this IDE and all. So that was a practice we always do. Now only like IDE made our work easy, but in the early journeys, uh, we were not using this IDE. We were using normal text files and the command prompt only to compile our code. So in that cases, what we will do is we will go to the path and we will say Java C space main.java. When I do it, a class file will be created. Later on, I will go to the folder and I will say the exact path, or you can directly say Java also, because I'm running from SRC folder, right? That's why I told like com.company.main. Otherwise, if you're running in the same folder, you can say Java space main. When I run it, my code will run. So this is how we do the testing, unit testing, and we will confirm that yeah, our code is working fine. So this is the way we have to. There are two steps again. Java C is for the compilation. The command Java is for the execution. Don't need to worry about this because we are not going to use this. We are going to use IDE itself for our executions and compilations, everything. But this is good to learn if somebody like Srinivas is interested in DevOps and other things, right? So you can very well understand the comments, like what are the different comments is available, how to execute a code without using ID and all. So for that knowledge purpose only I've shared it. Otherwise, if you're new to Java, don't get panicked. This is not the one you're going to use it regularly. This is for the knowledge purpose. Regularly, you can use IDE itself. IDE, you have a button at the top to run your code. So that will help you to complete your execution. Okay, so now I'm going back to the code. So this is my code and it is completed. My very first code, it is completed. But usually I won't prefer to write my code in a folder or a file called main, because it's itself it means something. So always I create some other name. And one important thing is, go with the relevant name of the thing which you are doing. Say for example, you are doing something, a project for creating an order. Your class file should be something called create order. Please don't create with your own name, your friend name, or your family member name. Don't use any of these names in your class file name or in the functions or in the variable, because we have to be professional and we are going to work for a company. And it is not guaranteed that only you are going to see the code. Later on somebody else also will be seeing your code. So it will be transferred to some other team member or some other offline and online. I hope you know, right? Like some companies work with the onshore and offshore pattern also. So some part of the code will be developed here, some part of the code will be transferred to the other counterpart in different geographical location. In that case, it's really good to go with the meaningful and relevant names for your variables, methods, and for the class names. So now I'm going to create a new class file. So how you can do, click on that, right click, go to this particular package folder. Either you can do like this, or from SRC folder also you can do, but I will prefer to click on this com.isha, because I don't need to specify this line number 1. It will automatically create the package name if I create my class file from this particular folder. So right click, click on new, go and select Java class. Here I'm going to give the name of the class. Say something like I'm going to discuss about the anatomy. So anatomy, you can click and you can click on this. You can look at this. It has created with the extension of .java, and the package name is already populated. I'm not going to type it, and it is coming with the class name called anatomy. And here I have to create the one important thing, that is my project should have at least one main method, the static main method, because my execution will start from there only. I may have so many methods in my class, but it will start my execution from the static main method. So I should have that method for sure. Otherwise, you will get an error. When I try to execute it, you can't even see the execution button here. You see at the top, it is hidden. It is not at all in the format where I can go and click it, because I don't have the main method. So I'm going to add the main method. The shortcut in IntelliJ to create your main method is PSVM. When you type it, you can see, you can type and click on enter. It will create the main method for me. And immediately you can observe the execute button is coming now. So you can run it. So now I don't want to keep it as simple. I'm going to write my very first code, because previously also the code was there, but I didn't write it. The ID itself has prompted me. So now I'm going to write my code. So again, I have some shortcuts here. So I'm going to type the shortcuts. Yes, out is the shortcut I'm typing, and I'm clicking on enter. When I enter, you can see system.out.println. That statement is coming automatically. I'm saying that some statement I can give. Hi, student. Okay. So now I'm going to run my code. You can see it is coming now. So this is how we are going to write the code. As many logic we are going to write, that many class files we are going to write it. If there is a place for reusability, that is the same method, the same logic, I have to duplicate in some other class files, means there only we will use some of the oops concept. So whenever I introduce new oops concept, I will bring up those examples and I will explain you that also. So is it clear how to use an IDE for your day-to-day activities? A simple project, a simple class files I have created, and the hierarchy also I am following: package, then your class, then your method. Later on, I will explain you what is package, what is class, what is method. As it is very early, I'm just saying the hierarchy, because you should know the standard way of coding. Then it's easy for you to understand like what is class, what is this method, and other things. I will explain in details in the upcoming sessions. Okay. Now I'm going back to the some of the standards what we will follow. So this I've covered, like anatomy means not only these things, there are some other things also we do follow. That is one important thing is comments. So some people think that it is the additional work, unwanted work, but when you ask me, it is a one good habit you have to follow when you are writing the comments. Comments is nothing but adding some points about the line of code which you have written. Say for example, you are given with a task that already the code is there, create order code is there, but this week alone, they have introduced the concept of 10% discount for the new users. So they told that, hi, you so and so, okay, employee one, write one logic for 10% discount. So what you are doing, you are coming and writing some logics here in the code. And this code is there and everything is going fine, well and good. You wrote it, but the same code is given to some other employee after 6 months or 1 year. It is not easy for him to understand by just seeing your code, because each developer has their own way of coding. They have their own style. Some people may understand our code, some people may not understand the code. In that cases, comments are the very important thing, will help the other user of this code. So there are two ways you can write your code. sorry, write your comments. One is single line comment, so that will be like two slashes like this, and I say this is my um, print statement. So something I'm typing. Okay, I've typed something here and I'm running my code as usual. I'm running. If you look at this, I'm not following the basic standard here. Usually all the statements in the Java should end with the semicolon at the end. It means that that is the end of the statement. So everything is a statement. Everything is the instruction to the machine. So how machine will understand that my instruction is over? This is my first instruction. This is my second instruction. How it will understand? By looking at the semicolon at the end. 1 minute. Excuse me. So here I'm not giving any semicolon. As per the coding, the line number 5 is over here itself. The semicolon is done. But I didn't give any semicolon at this line. If I'm not giving any semicolon, obviously it should throw some error. But here it is not throwing me any error at all. Moreover, if you look at this, I'm not following any syntax and all here. I'm using the normal verbals, English language here, and it is going on. So, how it is happening? Because of the two slashes in the front. If I give two slash, it means it is the command. It is not the actual code. So the Java will understand that whatever piece of line, whatever piece of code I'm returning after this double quotes, it is not meant for the compilation. I'm not going to compile this. I'm going to forget about the line which is added here. This is just for the readability purpose. I'm not going to consider about this. Only the lines which are all not commented, that alone I'm going to compile, that alone I'm going to execute it. That's why the double quotes one, it is not executed, it is just in my script. So this is called single line comment. So single line comments means it will come with two double slashes. Next thing is, say I have some piece of code, something like sysout, something I'm adding, too many sysout I'm adding. And I feel that I have some code. That code I don't need further. So let's take an example of the discount itself. I've told, right? They gave me a requirement that hey, go and do the 10% discount code in the backend. So I wrote the code. Later on, what they feel that no, they don't want that code now. They want to push this code to the next release. Release means after 3 months they want to do that. They don't want to do it on the Diwali sale. They want to use it on the New Year sale. So they don't want the code currently. If that is the case, what I will do? I won't delete my code because the logic is correct. Everything is correct. But it is not going to be used immediately. It is going to be used later. Maybe 3 months later, 4 months later. I don't know the time frame. But what I will be doing is I will comment the code because I can't keep the code also because it is not for the Diwali sale. It is for the New Year sale. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to comment the code like this. This is called multi-line commenting. Slash star, the lines would be there, then star slash. So multiple lines I can comment. I can comment this two lines, the line number 7 and 8 like this also. Like the single line comment also I can use. This is also same. It is also going to do the same thing. What? It is going to hide these lines from my compilation. It won't execute these lines when I run this program. Same functionality, same purpose. But just think about it. It's just two lines, line number 7 and 8, so I'm able to comment it. But in the case of more number of lines, but in the case of 100 lines, 50 lines, 250 lines, what I can do? I cannot follow this like slash 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 one for the 500 lines, right? So in that cases, what I can do is I can go for the multi-line commenting. So slash star with star slash. That's it. It will exactly behave the same way how I'm doing the two slashes together. Okay. Now the next thing is this executions and other things are all over. Now I can execute and I can run my code. So before getting on to the actual coding, I want you to follow some standard naming convention. Why this is really important is I'm going to consider you as actual developer itself. Going forward, you can say that I'm a Java developer. So how can you say Java developer? If you follow the correct practice of Java coding, then you can start telling it, because when you start writing your very first hello world code itself, you become a Java developer. That itself is a starting point. From that, you can simply upskill yourself and you can become a Java developer, microservice developer, or this cloud based Java SDK, anything you can do on top of it. But the very first step is you are going to write a hello world program either from a IDE or from the online compiler from your mobile app, mobile itself. Okay, mobile browser itself, you can do it. So now the naming conventions you have to follow. Very first thing is for the class, you would have seen I've created a class called anatomy. Okay, so there I was following some naming convention. Why we are following the naming convention is, being a developer you should follow something. Okay, when you see the name itself, you should be able to tell it's a method or a class or variable or interfaces. How can I create it? Because when you get onto an actual project, it is not like one or two class files you're going to deal with. There can be hundreds of class files, 200s of methods would be there, thousands of variables should be there. So you should not get confused by seeing. See, some developers have the practice of using something called variable name as A, B, C, underscore one, underscore two. Just think about it. What is this underscore one stands for? If I'm adding a variable for collecting the contact information, say contact number, so I should declare the variable as contact number. If I'm planning to get the email address of a customer, means I should say that customer email address, something, some relevant names I should use. But there are some people use I, J, K, A, B, C and all. Maybe when you do a development, you will be okay with that. But over a period of time, you just think about it. Only 26 letters are there. How many times you can use the same 26 letter for your variable name or a class name? So you end up in finding new things. So the better thing is go for the appropriate naming convention. For the classes, you have to start with the uppercase. The very first letter should be the uppercase for your class declaration. You would have observed that for anatomy, I use the A as uppercase, then I use that rest of the things in the anatomy lowercase. And it should be the noun such as like button or system. This is the recommendation. Again, I'm saying naming convention, it is not the rule of Java. It is for the better understanding. It is good if you follow it. It is not the rule that you have to follow it. If you don't follow also, your execution will go. Your compiler will compile and your output you will get it. But these are the good practice. If you follow, it will make your work easy. So that's we are telling. It's good to learn on the day one or two itself, so that in the subsequent development, something if you start in the beginning, you will continue the same thing till the end. That's why I'm telling in the initial days itself. Again, I'm insisting your compiler is not going to give you any error if you create something in the different thing. It's not like noun. If you give a verb, it's not going to give any error at all. So just I'm insisting it. Next, use appropriate words. I'm very strong on this because it will help you and your colleague also. So use appropriate words instead of acronyms kind of thing. Something called public class company you can use instead of public class A, public class B. Please don't do it. It's not a good way, I would suggest. Then for the methods. So method means in our example we have used the static main method. So in that you would have observed we were using the lower case letters only. We are not starting that with the uppercase, and it should be a verb like main, print, um, something like run. So some verbs will be using instead of nouns. Again, I'm insisting it is not the strict rule. It is like good to follow. Next thing is, if the name contains multiple words, something called do check. So this is the method name you are planning to use. In that cases, what you can do? You can start with a lower case, letter followed by the uppercase. It means your first letter should be, say, add number is a 1, the method they are planning to use, add number, subtract number, multiply number. If you are planning to use two words for your method name, then the first word should be in the lower case and the second word should start with the uppercase, so that you can differentiate it. Just some information here that you can differentiate it. So this is how you will do. Class would be there, under that your method will come. So add, multiply, subtract, divide, whatever you want you can do, and inside that you can have your code. Next thing is your variable declaration. This is, it should start with a lowercase, something like ID, name, phone number, email address. So those things you can add. Should not start with the special character. Like these are the special characters, it won't allow in the beginning. And if the name contains multiple words, that method also we have told, right? If there are more than one word, then the lowercase letter followed by the uppercase. Exactly, in the method also they have told. The first word should be in the lowercase and the second word should be in the uppercase. And next thing is, this is the sample for it, package. And package, I've created one package for our training is com.isha. So should be in the lower case, something called java.lang, so com.isha, something like that you can create. And if the name contains multiple words, it should be separated by dot. You would have observed I have done that only. com.training, com.isha. If you are planning to use more than one word, then you have to go for the dot or period between them and you can execute. Next thing is, these two things I didn't cover in my Hello World example also, interface and constants. So interface is somewhat relevant to your class, but it has some differentiations I will cover as part of the hoop sessions. So for now, just think there is something called interface. For interfaces, we have to follow the same thing like your class name naming convention. That is, it should start with upper cases, but the only thing is, in class you are using noun, here you have to use something called adjective. What is this adjective? Adjective is nothing but it is going to describe your noun. I'm not going to take English grammar class now. So something like runnable, serializable, executable. So when you join a company, if you see any of these keywords, then you can easily identify it is an interface. Why I am telling this is, going forward, you are going to use a library, inbuilt library of Java. Java itself has written some code, some class files are all available in your IDE. I'll show you that also. When you see that, when you see the name itself, you can easily say it is a interface by seeing the naming convention. That's why I'm telling that whenever you use something called runnable or serializable, executable and all, it means it is the interface. And final thing is constant. This is for sure. Not only in Java, in other programming languages also they are following this. Your declaration should be a uppercase. Say you are going to declare a constant. Constant means what? It is not going to be changed at all. Say you are saying that the age limit to visit a website is more than 18, means it is constant. It is not going to change at all throughout your project execution, throughout wherever screen, whichever screen you are going in your website, it is constant. All the screens are like it is made for 18 plus, means 18 plus only should do. Only the Indian customers should use it, means only the Indian customers they are going to use it. So there are some restrictions, mean that constant it is not going to change at all. So in that case, the variable name you can make it as uppercase. So everything should be in uppercase. If you are planning to use more than one word for the constant, then you can use the underscore between them and you can do it like this. So these are the different naming conventions. This is not, again I'm saying, this is not mandated. If you give it in the other format also it will work. But if you follow this naming convention properly, it will help you. Others also will follow. Then in future it will help you back. When you see the other code, you can see it. Now I'm taking you back to the IDE again. I hope my ID is visible. So I'm mousing over on this. Okay, when I mouse over on this, it is giving me some option is public, class, anatomy, something it is telling, right? And it is telling which project it belongs to also. When I mouse over this main, you can see it is saying, can you see something called C here? C is nothing but that is the representation for a class. So C means it is class. So anatomy is the class. So it is mentioned as C, and under that I have something called static main method. Now, if you look at this, I'm making a mouse over on this. This will help you. I told right there are so many inbuilt things are available. The system dot out dot println. So when I mouse over, it is showing something. You can see it is under the class called print stream, and there is a method available. What I'm going to do is, it is the inbuilt method provided by my library, Java library, from where I got from my JDK. I received it. This somebody has already, I'm going to open it. I didn't write the code. Okay, it is already available. Can you see? I clicked on it. I pressed my control key. When I did a mouse over on that particular, I'm telling the shortcut also. When I did a mouse over on this, I am pressing the control key. When I click on the control key, you can see it turned blue, and I am clicking it. Once I'm clicking it, a new class file got opened. So this is the file. It is already written by somebody. Okay, it is available in my JDK, and I'm going to use this wherever I want to print some line. I'm not going to write the code for the printing and all. I'm going to use the existing method for me. So if you look at this, I was telling you, right? JDK means it will give you the supported files and other things. So why I'm saying that, understand the naming convention means there are some cases you will be using others code, that is from your JDK you can use, or from online source you will be using. When you are using, you should understand by seeing the name itself whether it is a class or it's a interface kind of thing. So here you can see I'm using something called appendable, closable. So by seeing that name itself, I can easily understand this is the interface, because I told right adjective. So interface means it will use adjective. So appendable and closable are the interfaces. So when I click on it, it will show me here anyhow. But even without mousing over that, I can easily understand by seeing the naming convention. That is why we are insisting on the naming convention. Okay, so with this I'm stopping today's one. So if I start a new topic, it will take some time. Any doubt in today's session?
Yeah, you will just one question. So after you have written the Java program and you're running through IntelliJ, right? So where is that class file stored?
I'll show you. Is my ID visible to you even now?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so this is my terminal, right?
Yeah.
So this is the path of the class file, this anatomy.java you can see, and it is around like 9:45 I created this file, and everything will be under the out folder. Can you see a out folder? So this out
Okay.
folder AFL compilation. So my source code will be in under the source folder. Source, my package name, whichever package I'm giving, and my classes would be there. This is .java extension file. Once I compile, once I execute, this will be available in my out folder. So you can navigate in your screen also like this. At the bottom, I'm typing the comments. You can see here I'm typing. I'm going to the path. Exactly what is a path? Under October batch, I'm having something called out, right? The same place I'm going.
Okay.
Okay,
So this
CD.
structure is automatically created, this entire hierarchy.
Yes, yes, yes. If you, this
This
is the
October
hierarchy.
batch production
Yes,
out.
yes. If you
Okay.
want to change, you can change it. By default, this is a thing it will come. If you want to
Okay.
modify the path, okay, then you can do it also.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Welcome.
So in order to run the class files, IntelliJ should need the JRE as well, right?
I'm having JDK, right? So JDK in turn will have a JRE. I don't
Oh,
need to
okay, okay. You don't need separate
download it
things.
separately. So in yesterday's session, I was telling, right, one
Okay,
screenshot also I have shown you.
okay. Yeah, thank you.
I'll put, yeah, this was the screenshot I showed you yesterday. If you look at this, this is the overall JDK. So JDK will have JRE plus your development tools.
Okay,
So
yeah,
JDK is a combination of JRE and some additional libraries.
yeah.
So
Thank you.
download only JDK, that is sufficient. You're welcome. Okay, thank you for joining. We'll connect in the next class. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.